Okay, back to codependency. My last video cut off. I ran out of storage. Y'all, I swear to God, I don't know if anybody else ever feels this way, but it feels like every time I get started on something, there's something that stops it. And I know that's my passion. I know that I have information, knowledge, wisdom to pass along to other people. We all do if we want to. And I enjoy doing that. And it seems like the more I want to focus on that, the more this life is trying to take that from me. The simplest little thing, because I have this energy about me. Let me tell you something, and then I'll get on to codependency. There is something about that energy that is so coveted. It is so desired. And this can apply to a lot of things. Check it out. You've probably seen it before. The more you have something inside of you that seems preoccupied, okay? And I'm not saying we want to do this in an unhealthy way that hurts other people, that neglects other people on purpose. No. But it's so weird to me. Because ever since I was a little child, I was like this. I was preoccupied in an internal world. I had a lot of imagination, creativity. I loved to draw. I loved to write songs. I would play school. I would play teacher. The worlds that existed inside my room, music and dancing, and nobody was in there. I had other siblings, but my father was very controlling. We all had separate rooms, and I did not get to have friends over a lot. This shaped my personality a lot, too. But I was always that kid, very creative, very in my own head. Kids who grow up in an abusive home are often like that, too. But it doesn't always mean they're toxic, okay? It's a little bit of both. I was always in my own head, always thinking and contemplating and hearing my own thoughts, daydreaming and planning the future and creative visualization and what I want to do and just getting in touch with me. And sometimes that living in your head shit, it can go too far. It depends on what's going on. It depends on if you're in a relationship, you're neglecting your partner, you're neglecting your responsibilities, you're too in your head, doing toxic shit with that stuff in your head. Or it can be healthy at the same time that you have the ability to do that you are self-entertained. You know how to self-soothe. You don't always have to grab on to somebody. Those balances need to be met, okay? It's just like that. It can be too toxic if you always have to be around somebody and you can't go 5 minutes alone and you don't have your own identity and personality and you never got in touch with all that stuff. It doesn't necessarily mean you're a good and healthy person, just because, you know, a lot of people will try to turn that around on you. Oh, well, you just like to be alone. You just da-da-da-da. No, I'm just fucking healthy, okay? I just like to meet the balances, okay? I like companionship, but I also am a person that can enjoy my solitude. I'm a grown-ass woman, and I'm not going to fucking freak out if I have to be alone for a little bit and start hitting up the dating sites and cheating, low self, you know, I'm not going to get all fucking weird and cling to anybody's leg that I know it's healthy. They need to go have some space and some time. That's all that is, okay? A lot of people have these problems and they try to project that shit over onto you because they don't want you to notice that they are obsessive, unhealthy, codependent, and have issues to a very extreme degree. Right, okay. But ever since I was a kid, y'all, seriously, I've had this about me, and then, yes, because of the way I was raised, the abuse, yada yada, all the mixed messages and the programming, as I got into the dating years and married and on into relationship stuff, I did start developing codependency, clinginess, different aspects of codependency. My self-esteem is based on if this guy likes me or not, my world will just end, I have nothing, those kinds of things started to develop in me over the years. Obsessive personality, all that kind of stuff. But in my roots, I still always had that about me to fall back on. That plus going to therapy and working on myself quite a bit, I still had that damn personality. Even though I would get obsessive, I would get caught up in relationship shit, I would lose myself in it, I would start to become depressed if this one didn't like me or that one rejected me or I didn't have, yada yada. But leave me alone long enough to heal that and find myself, and those old roots would come right back. That natural born personality of, hey, I exist, I matter, I'm important with or without somebody. Period. I have things, I have a soul, I have passions, I have creativity, I have dreams, I have goals, I have things to do. That kind of thing, okay? Codependency can be very, very toxic. It can really destroy people. And if anybody has had to live through that shit and work on those issues, it's been me, okay? So I know what's up with it. And the thing is, balance. Balance is everything, okay? That's just it. I see so many people foisting their own issues off onto other people, and it's not fair, especially if it's somebody I know and somebody I care about. But that's what codependency is, guys. We might start off okay. We're good. And if we have anything in the back of our mind that hasn't been healed, that hasn't been looked at, any little thing about our self-esteem, some of us are just hanging by a damn thread. Some of us literally are put together. We've had to try so hard to be stable and find emotional stability. A lot of us are hanging by a damn thread. And if something comes along and comes into our life, a lot of times it is easy to get caught up in codependency. Okay? But I am just out to reinforce that information that it is not healthy to feel like you don't exist or you have nothing without your partner. Now, I know, okay, we can go back biologically in our genetics, in our DNA as a human, species. Interdependency is the healthiest thing. Everyone working together as a society, as a community. I get it, okay? A lot of toxic people will try to throw this shit up at you. I get it. No man is an island. No woman is an island. We do collectively need each other. We need family. We need friends. We need people in general. Absolutely. We wouldn't want to just be standing on this earth all on our own. No. I don't push for that, for people to isolate and be alone. That's why I tell people, don't take my information and toxify it. Don't take it and misconstrue it to a toxic degree. I am always coming from a place of balance, okay? So I know historically people were tribal. They all depended on one another to survive. It is hard in this world to survive all on your own. No, we need reinforcement from others and feedback from others and love and attention. There's nothing wrong with wanting those things, okay? But in modern society, yes, psychology tries to teach us that going overboard to these extremes anymore, it's really not necessary. It's just not, we're not living centuries back. But I do think it can go too far. I do think society expects a lot sometimes from people, and it is really hard. It's really hard to make it in this world all alone, especially. The cost of living is high, the demands and the pressure. It's hard. That's why a lot of people have roommates or family members group up together and help each other out. That can be a wonderful thing if it's interdependent, not codependent. You see, interdependence, where Everyone carries their load appropriately. They all work together as a team. They all have self-awareness. They consider everyone else's feelings. If I don't do my part, or if I fail, or if I just decide, fuck it, I'm not going to do it today, or I got all this shit going on, then the whole group's going down. I'm going to cause a burden and a stressor to the group. Working together, if that could work out, that's great. Having a support system where you're all respectful of each other's boundaries and feelings, and nobody oversteps. Nobody overdoes it in stealing the energy away from others, and they take personal responsibility, then that's great. That's the healthiest way. But if you're in a situation and one person decides, I don't have to carry my load, I don't have to be self-aware, I don't have to think for myself, I can step over people's boundaries, I can throw my hands up in the air and do whatever the hell I want, no matter how it affects everybody else, I don't have to be personally responsible for myself. That's when the whole shit goes to shit. That's why, in our society, they teach, hey, you hit 18, get out. You're independent, go do your own thing, have your own shit, But I do think that can go too far, because looking back, historically, people grouped up together and they survived better. They had more. So it's not too far-fetched that there are people out here wanting to grab onto a group, or wanting to, not wanting to be all by themselves. It's not too insane by any means, no. Because yes, historically, we all needed each other to survive. People grouped up, man, and yes, they had plenty. They took care of one another. But a lot of these people out here doing that shit, wanting to grab onto somebody and not wanting to learn to be self-sufficient and personally responsible and all that, a lot of people doing it are the types of people that don't want to carry their own load, that want to fuck it all up for the rest of the group. You see, they want to grab on and they want to get in. They want to have somebody, and they want that comfort and that stability and that safety, but they don't want to put the fucking work and the effort in, the personal responsibility, doing their emotional and mental work, physical work. They don't want to put any of that in that it takes to be a healthy part of that system. Whether it's a partnership, a relationship, part of a family, part of a roommate, whatever it is. Yeah, that's the problem. They get codependent. That's right, where everything turns toxic, the balance is off, someone is taking and taking much more than they give, all the balances are off, okay? Codependency is very toxic. It's where everything gets all messed up. People are not carrying equal loads. And it just depends on the circumstances. Is it a relationship, romantic? Is it family setting? What is it? But it can feel like a prison. It's where basically you can't do a damn thing without this attachment to another human being. And I've seen it on people. Oh, I gotta get home because so-and-so might be hungry. Oh, I gotta go. And this is to the toxic level. Now, I understand little old couples that have been married 50, 60 years. It's gonna be that way. That's a beautiful thing. If they're on the right frequency with each other, mutual respect and love, that's okay. I got to get home because my darling is going to want his dinner, and we have dinner every night at 6, and, yada, yada. Hey, I'm all for that if it's a loving relationship, okay? But I've seen this shit to the toxic degree where people are in prison. That's codependency. Oh, no, I better not go to class. No, I better not go hang out with my family or go do anything for themselves. Literally, they lose their whole entire identity. No, because I've got so-and-so at the house and he's real sick or she's real messed up. Addiction, narcissistic personalities, people with emotional problems. Something's going on with that partner or person at home. It could be a family member that you're living with, whatever the case that you're having to deal with. Something about that individual isn't taking responsibility. They're not taking personal responsibility, and the two of you are codependent on each other. I got to get home. I can't go too far from the house because they might do this, this, and this. I felt that way living with an alcoholic. Even if he wasn't doing anything to me or calling me or bothering me at work, I constantly felt on edge. To the point where I didn't want to stay at work long. I didn't want to go do anything for myself. I didn't want to have a good time. I didn't want to focus. I just needed to get right back home because I have an anxiety disorder anyway. So naturally that was triggered. If you have an alcoholic at home, you don't know if they're going to fall or they're going to have a seizure while I'm gone. These are toxic situations, okay? When you get into toxic situations, codependency is going to be there. And even if you weren't that way to start out, even if you were working on those issues and you were stable and okay on your own, if you get involved with a toxic person or they have issues that they're not wanting to work on, slowly, you're going to come down to that level where you also are codependent on them. Vice versa. They need you and you need them, but it's in a sick, toxic, codependent way. It's very unhealthy. The toxic person or the addict, well, naturally, they're going to want to have as much control of you as they can possibly have. They don't want you really focused on the narcissistic personality or the addict. They don't want you too much focused on living and going and creating and being out there in the world and talking to healthy people. And you might get ideas. They get very paranoid and they want to control you. And then you, while living with that, anyone toxic at home, if you're in a situation like that too long, you're going to start shutting down. You are going to become codependent on your feelings about them. Well, I don't want to lose them. Well, I don't want to upset them. I don't want them to be mad at me. You're finding your approval in whatever it is about them. Well, I want them to love me. I want them to think that I'm a good mother or father or brother or sister. Whoever's living with who that has become codependent and you're taking care of them or enabling them or whatever the case is. Well, I got caught up in that for a long time and people were using the fuck out of me. I couldn't say no. And people know me. A lot of days, I don't give a shit. I'm going to do me. Hey, piss off. I'm doing me. And it doesn't have to be vicious and nasty, but I'm just saying. And I even got to the point where for years of my life, people would, can you do this? You think you can do this for me? Can you be over here? And I had to get to the root of that. What is this? Why? Oh, I guess so. Why couldn't I do what was best for me? It stripped me down so far. It took up so much of my energy and my time to not just be able to feel worthy enough to say no. No, I can't do that today. No guilt. No, oh God, I feel so bad. I should be. Just no. And I had to ask myself, what is that? That's some of that codependency shit. This could be with your family, your mother, father, kids, boyfriend, girlfriend, friends, anybody asking. This could be with any relationship. You going beyond the boundary line where you feel comfortable. You going beyond and saying yes when you want to say no. Not feeling comfortable to say no. Then you're going to have resentment towards that person. And it's going to lead to a big mess. And I had to get to the root of what's my problem. Somewhere deep down inside of me, I was still that little girl looking for people's approval. Well, if I don't go do it, I'll be a bad person. They won't see me as the competent go-getter, the woman that can solve it all, the one they can depend on, the ride or die. Don't let people fucking trap you and manipulate you into that title. Let me tell you something. Ride or die ain't shit. I hate that term. I'd rather not be. Thank you. I'd rather have my sanity and not be a servant, a slave. I'd rather not jeopardize my health, my sanity, my life, my boundaries, everything about myself just to be there for somebody else's ass who needs that much. They should be checking themselves why they need somebody to get close to dying. Why you need somebody to be a ride or die? Why's it got to be that damn extreme? What's wrong with you that you need that much out of a woman or a man? What are you lacking? What the hell's wrong with you that you would need somebody to be that damn extreme? Why would you put them in that position in the first place? Where's your damn respect for other human lives? Where's your self-respect and your self-awareness and your respect for other people's time, energy, ride or die? I hate that shit. Loyalty is one thing. That's wonderful, okay? It's wonderful to have loyalty. But when we grow up in abusive and toxic environments, it teaches us an undying loyalty to bad shit. Loyalty to ourselves first, to make sure we're okay, we're safe, we're stable. This shit of people coming into our lives and having us go over the line where we don't feel comfortable anymore. We're not enjoying this. You're driving us crazy. You're asking too much. And then I hear those other people whining about, well, it shouldn't be asking too much. I shouldn't be called too needy. Man, y'all have to find the balances on this stuff, okay? That's where you get into the fine details of whatever your personal situation is and seeing who's who and what's what with that. But y'all get what I'm saying? Codependency can be a prison. Codependency has to do with your self-esteem, your self-worth, your identity. What the hell am I even here for? And I know that it is human because historically we didn't have all this stuff we have now. We didn't have all the options we have now. It was totally different. People grew up, they were married off before they were even 10 years old, and that's all they were for. They grouped up together so that they could freaking survive, and nobody thought about any of this stuff. It's deeply ingrained in people to do that. And some people are still on those old standards. Well, then they might meet up with somebody who's on a higher frequency. They have ascended or evolved into a different mentality, a higher dimensional way of living and being, okay? These frequencies have to match up, y'all. That's where I found my worst problems, and I had to learn my biggest lesson, is do not try to match up with a frequency that doesn't match up with yours. That's it. That's really it. But yeah, codependency is prison. In today's time, and I'm just trying to let y'all know the balance, though. I'm not saying it's insane that people do want togetherness, that they want help, that they want to group up together. I'm not saying that's insane or far-fetched at all, because historically, that's what's ingrained in us. But what I'm saying in today's age, okay, where we're different, we're living in a modern age, we don't need all the shit we used to need. People are taking this to an extreme, and we are learning that we're actually worthy human beings all on our own. Okay, a lot of people get this in their brain that if they don't have a man or a woman, and here's where I kind of go back and forth with psychology, and I'm like, well, wait a minute, that's pretty natural. That's what people do. They hook up, they create babies, they have this drive to survive, to carry on the human race. That is going to be that is the main drive in people. Sex, and that's what's back there, though, is to keep the human race going. So a lot of times, I'm looking at psychology like, well, we expect people to feel this way about themselves and this kind of independence. And, I argue back and forth with the shit myself, because I know that those primal drives are still in people. That's what's there. But we're living in a time now where people can grow and evolve into a different mental state. We don't necessarily have to stay stuck in all those very basic primal drives. We can control those things. They're not always necessary anymore, okay? And that's pretty much what it is. But in today's age, they're looking at it like you don't really have to go around clung to anybody's leg. You can get in touch with yourself